It's always a major event when a new Final Fantasy title arrives, but especially is it massive when it's the first title to exclusively release on a next-gen PlayStation console. The Final Fantasy XVI is more than just a new PS5 exclusive game in this legendary series. It also spells an entirely new story, characters, and combat system, meaning, like every mainline Final Fantasy title, that this is a game meant for both newcomers and experienced players alike. But what exactly is it about this Final Fantasy title in particular that makes me smile from ear to ear? Well, thanks to PlayStation Norway for sponsoring this video, I'm able to go into detail into why I love so many of this game's aspects. So let's dive right into the heart of why this is indeed a must-have and true next-gen PS5 RPG. And if you are curious about the game, but would like to check it out for yourself first, you can find the absolutely fantastic demo free on the PlayStation Store, which honestly had me shaking when it was over. What's even better is that your demo save file will transfer over when you purchase the full game, so there's no reason not to test it out. First of all, Final Fantasy XVI takes place in the world of Valisthea, a world divided between 6 nations vying for influence, resources, and the mighty crystals enabling enormous power. In my opinion though, it's the shared dedication to both stunning action and tactical combat and truly awesome imagery that really makes Final Fantasy XVI stand out. But there's even more behind this fantastic upper layer. And so, let's go through my favorite aspects of this game and why I just know you're going to love it too. First off, the combat system stands front and center. What makes the Final Fantasy series so unique is that it tends to more or less change up its combat system from entry to entry, making each game feel unique and, despite harboring similarities, feeling fresh. Final Fantasy XVI takes this a step further though, and implements perhaps the most action-focused combat system yet. And listen, I'm as big a fan of those old-school turn-based systems as anyone, but FF16's tactical real-time battles actually managed to win me over basically instantly. As the mighty warrior Clive, you move seamlessly across the many dynamic battlefields of Valisthea, as we're able to control every aspect of movement in real time. Hacking and slashing the enemy is a great way to deal with them, but it's still only one way of doing so. Clive also possesses the power of magic, and may use his power independently as a long-range projectile, or combine it at the right time to deal extra and stylish damage to his enemies. Importantly, you must also make proper use of dodging and parrying to not only avoid damage, but to immediately deal powerful counterattacks, and doing so makes every moment even more cinematic. Much like the Final Fantasies of the past 2 generations, 16 delivers a dual health system of sorts, one that deals with regular enemy health and one that deals with a will gauge or stagger meter. This means that while your main objective is to deplete the enemy's health bar, you also do well to keep in mind which attacks drain your enemy's will the most, as depleting it fully will leave your foe completely dazed until it refills, leaving you plenty of room to go on the offensive. But there's more. Clive's inner power lends him even more awesome tricks, meaning you're able to utilize devastating super abilities that'll strike fear in the hearts of both health and will meters alike. These powers recharge over time, and as the game progresses, you'll acquire even more of these, with some allowing you to close the distance between you and your foe, and others toppling your enemies when they're on the brink of collapse already. We even have 2 difficulty modes here, one letting you focus on just the story and enjoying the combat system with extra help, and one truly unleashing the action with more challenge. In other words, there's something here for everyone, no matter your preference or experience. Second, which is another aspect of the combat system, is that Final Fantasy XVI is filled to the brim with amazing and awesome beasts of war known as icons, in essence the same as Aeons or Eidolons from previous titles. But this time, they appear more present than ever, not just being important parts of the story, but sometimes even putting you in direct control, bringing a feeling of sheer and raw power. And speaking of story, I am honestly blown away by the tight direction and no-fuss progression here. Again, for those of you wondering, Final Fantasy XVI is its very own story in its very own universe, meaning there's no need to play any other game in the series to understand what's going on. What I love about Final Fantasy XVI's story is that it's an actual coherent, epic, and emotional tale, and importantly, one whose moment-to-moment pacing and dialogue really stands tall above other modern games in the genre. The setting itself isn't necessarily anything new. We've seen medieval worlds before after all, but it's what Final Fantasy XVI does to spice things up that really makes this interesting. Because even though I enjoy my knights and castles, Final Fantasy is so much more than just aesthetics. And for this title, the focus really is on the events and story that plays out. This is a war-torn world, ravaged by those who seek to possess the powerful crystals scattered around the world. Mighty beings known as dominants are vital chess pieces on the field of battle, able to determine the outcomes of wars. But what Final Fantasy XVI offers here is more than the usual medieval fantasy tale. This is a dark and often brutal story, one that takes the series into territory many might recognize from places like Game of Thrones. The game is filled with intrigue, hidden intentions, power politics, and unreliable characters, but also those who seek to do good and redeem themselves. But all of this would of course be for naught if it wasn't written well, and if the voice acting didn't match the stakes at hand. That's why I'm so excited to share that I've rarely been as impressed with RPG voice acting and writing as I have been in this game. Clive, our main character, is admittedly a tough guy and often talks the part, but he remains an emotional and human figure whose best parts show themselves in those unique moments of feeling.
But mostly I was afraid. Afraid to go back.
I know.
But I'm here now.
Clive's younger brother is voiced by none other than Logan Hannon, the iconic little brother from A Plague Tale. Playing not a too dissimilar role in this game, he does a fantastic job of portraying a young but struggling prince.
The soldiers will expect the Phoenix to help them, but I don't know if I can.
Don't worry, Joshua. Father will guide you. And I will protect you. Always.
I know. Thank you, Clive.
Then there's the conniving but dangerous Benedicta. Both a fierce warrior and loyal Imperial servant, her role as a dominant makes her particularly powerful on the battlefield. But it's her writing and voice acting that truly brings her to life, with the talented Nina in this adding a uniquely resentful and arrogant touch to this mysterious woman.
I can't do this anymore. If you would stand between our liege and his dream, then you leave me no choice.
And then we have Sid, or Sidolphus, a charismatic freedom fighter whose name is a mainstay for iconic characters in the franchise. Other than just looking cool, Sid's voice just stays with you, and even though he is a serious man, he's never above making the odd weird remark or pointed comment.
Calm down. I didn't come all this way for your handsome mug. Now her, on the other hand, she seemed worth muddying my boots for.
These are but a few of Final Fantasy XVI's new and unique characters, and it's fantastic to be able to say that I love them more and more as time goes on. That's exactly what you want to see in a game like this, and the fact that writing, voice acting, and the quality of the cutscenes all come together to create a Final Fantasy that competes with the best of them is amazing. But the cherry on top? Final Fantasy XVI's lip syncing is finally made to fit English voice acting, meaning these characters and the way their lips move look better and more realistic than ever before. And finally, the moment I know you've all been waiting for, the music. And by all that is holy, Final Fantasy XVI's music is just phenomenal. There really is no other way to put it. I am especially talking about the combat music here, of which there is a lot by the way. But from the beautiful forest of Greatwood to the chaotic and terrifying boss battles, these tracks just keep outdoing each other. But the calm moments are here too, like in the Refuge hideout, where it's even possible to play music from a dedicated music player. I love this, and it makes it possible to give this place its very own vibe on your own terms. But even cooler is the fact that this soundtrack is dynamic, meaning that if we use the Greatwood as an example, that our calm and relaxed track will develop and turn into an action-packed percussion-filled feast.
Maybe they're friendly like Torgal. Or maybe they're not.
This makes every moment feel seamless no matter what. And even though it's the boss music that might claim the throne as the very best, the game is filled with memorable and vitally important, hummable tracks throughout. Final Fantasy XVI has shaped up to be one of the best titles in the series in the modern era, and despite being so different, truly is a massive return to form from Square Enix. There's so much more to this game than what's been covered in this video, so if you are interested in a story and combat focused game, I highly recommend you check Final Fantasy XVI out on the PS5, which is the only place you'll find it, or even try the free and amazing demo first to see if you like it. Final Fantasy XVI is available right now and will blow your socks off, and I tip my virtual hat to directors Hiroshi Takai, Katsutoya Maehiro, and producer Naoki Yoshida for putting it all together, and to Masayoshi Soken for his incredible music. Let me know your thoughts on Final Fantasy XVI in the comments, and remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, thank you so much to PlayStation Norway for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!